the focus of today's attention is on Gen Z. So millennials, we are not going to take this away from Gen Z. One of the things with Gen Z is that they have a lot of acronyms. They can say LLB that. You're chatting with them, they're like, GXEE. I'm like, what is GXEE? You're communicating with someone, you're trying to pass across information, you're saying DDBA. And I'm like, come on now. Can you just speak English? Maybe to your fellow Gen Zs, it can flow. You can flow with them, but if you want to work with me, or if we're supposed to do something together, or we're supposed to partner or something, and every sentence is filled with XXD, BGDD, we're not really going to go for. After a while, we will have a communication breakdown, and I'm just going to move on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're listening to this from. Today is another sweet, interesting, amazing episode of Young Folks Ask. And today I have a very interesting topic to break down to you. And if you see me looking left as usual, it's because I want to consider the outline before me, so I make sure I give you a panorama. I give you the full scoop on today's question. And if you're joining us for the first time, this is where I, Benga Richmond, deep dive into the burning questions, the most important questions, the questions that are always at the heart of young people. And they've tried Google without results. They've tried elders without results. And I'm coming out here to give you a very comprehensive answer to these frequently asked questions. So without further ado, let's consider the question for today. This is episode 9, and the question is, why don't they get us? The first question I want to ask is that, who are the guys that usually were like, I was like, so why don't they get us? Why don't they get us? So who do you think I'm referring to? I'm sure you know exactly who. And these guys are called the Gen Zs, the Generation Z. The Gen Zs. And, even Gen Zs, I find that something very interesting. Even Gen Zs, not all of them know the meaning of Gen Z. Not all of them, they just say it too, because they see older people are calling them Gen Zs. They're like, I'm not a Gen Z. And usually I see that when you call a Gen Z, a Gen Z denies, no, I'm not Gen Z, because they're trying to show you that they are older than whatever you think Gen Z age range is. Anyway, let's put all of that confusion to rest once and for all today in this episode. So why don't they get us? So let's talk about, we can't go any further until we talk about who are these Gen Z. So I've done my research and I'm here to explain to you. So if you're a Gen Z listening to this, or you didn't even know you were a Gen Z, you're about to find out. So who are Gen Zs? So Gen Z, also known as Generation Z, refers to individuals that are born between 1997 and 2012. So if you are born between 1997 and 2012, you are Gen Z. If you are born between 1997 and 2012, you are Gen Z. And though the exact age range may vary slightly by source, but they follow millennials. That's sometimes you hear Gen Zs, then you hear millennials. Even millennials don't know they're millennials. Don't worry. I will also tell you who millennials are. They follow millennials and are characterized by growing up in an era. So Gen Zs grew up in an era defined by rapid technological advancement and digital connectivity. So the Gen Zs grew up when technology was going at the fastest pace it has ever gone since this earth began. So if you get that, then you understand what I'm saying, right? So let's go. Okay, so now that you understand that Gen Zs are those born between 1997 and 2012, so who are millennials? Millennials are also known as Generation Y. It's not popular. They don't call millennials Gen Y, but the more popular term is millennials. Gen Zs, the more popular term is Gen Zs, okay? So millennials, also called Gen Y, were born roughly between 1981 and 1996. So if you are born between 1981 and 1996, you're a millennial. For example, I'm a millennial, right? So, and Gen Zs now know themselves. So, and they follow Gen X. Do you know that there's even Gen X? They follow Gen X and precede Gen Z. We came before the Gen Zs, right? And we have been suffering it. I will explain a bit if I have the time. This cohort grew up during the rise of the internet. So we, millennials, we grew up during the rise of the internet. You remember then when cyber cafe was a thing? We grew up in the days of cyber cafe. Now, Gen Zs don't understand cyber cafe. This guy grew up during the rise of the internet, the mobile technology, and social media. So we at the cusp of social media, at the beginning of the technological growth globally. We Gen Ys or millennials, if you will, we that was the era. We are among the fortunate ones because we're at the era when all this technological gymnastics started, right? Making us the first generation. We millennials, we are the first generation to witness the transition from analog to digital lifestyles. Now, you remember, most millennials remember when, for example, if you're in Nigeria, they remember Nitel. Gen Zs don't know what Nitel is. Millennials remember when we used to go to our rich uncle's house. Usually our fathers don't have it. So go to our rich uncle's house and to make a call to maybe a friend or a distant relation, and then you pick the phone, you dial to. In fact, you have to wait for a dial tone. Then you do to, and then you wait at the other. It can ring forever. Sometimes they tell you that there's no dial tone and blase. So I lived in that era, and then now saw the GSM technology, saw the smartphone technology, saw the Google technology, saw the ChatGPT. I mean, we've seen it all, right? We are old. So, but the focus of today's attention is on Gen Z. So, millennials, we are not going to take this away from Gen Zs. Let's go back to Gen Z. So, what are the key characteristics of Gen Zs? 1, Gen Zs are called digital natives. Why? Gen Zs grew up with smartphones. They grew up with social media, and then they grew up with streaming platforms like YouTube, like Netflix, like Prime. We then, bomb monkey. I mean, we we were at the age where we had to wait for 4 o'clock for TV to start. But these guys, these Gen Zs, they didn't see none of that, right? So number 2, diversity and inclusion. So Gen Zs value social justice. This era of Twitter or X, sorry. This era of social media, this era of trolling and I call it the T and T's. What's it? S and T. This scrolling and trolling that has become a phenomenon now globally was really enriched and made popular by Gen Z. So, they made social media into something else, if you know what I'm talking about. So they value social justice. So you see somebody comes, some 18, 20-year-old comes and is bashing, let's say RMD, for example. RMD that, is well up there, bashing him because he did something or did not do something, and then they start typing, and that's something we dare not do in our age. But Gen Zs just feel like, look, don't you see that this guy is effing up, so let's just, and they do that, unapologetically. So they believe they value social justice. They're not going to wait for police or court to determine anything. They take to social media and they express what they think about a particular matter, and they don't care whose ox is God. All right. Number 3. Okay, they value justice. And number 2, they value social justice and are known for promoting equality and inclusivity. Gen Zs don't like this concept of I'm older than you, or that I'm going to have these privileges because I came before you on this earth. So no, they believe that, look, everything should be meritorious, merit-based. If I can do it and you can do it, age should not be a factor, right? So number 3, financial awareness. Now, Gen Zs are more cautious about spending and saving compared to millennials, partly influenced by witnessing financial crisis. So they saw their fathers, they saw their uncles and brothers going through a lot of financial mess, even the financial crisis in the world, and so they are more cautious. That's why all these apps are coming where, these digital banks, you can tell them to take out 2k or 5k or 10k every day and save it. Mostly these apps are targeted at Gen Zs, and then you see this stuff like PiggyVest. Let me just mention it. PiggyVest, for example, coming up with all kinds of savings plans, savings target, and whatnot. They were targeting Gen Zs, I imagine. So because these are the people that, number one, there's the trust factor. Most millennials and above, we do not believe in digital apps. We don't trust digital apps. So we are not going to put our millions and billions into some app that doesn't have a physical branch. So, but somehow Gen Zs are believing. They do not mind putting their millions and billions into some app without a physical address. They just believe, they just trust that their money will be safe. And more often than not, they are correct. All right. If I'm learning from Gen Zs now, because now I'm now using these digital apps to save. I'm using digital apps for my transactions. These old banks, they're beginning to be old, and so me too. I want to be new. I want to join the new wave and then get stuff done more efficiently. If you know what I'm talking about. Then number 4 is entrepreneurial spirit. Entrepreneurial spirit. Now, entrepreneurial spirit, they tend to, talking about Gen Zs tend to pursue side hustles. Now, it's Gen Zs that popularize the gig economy. I don't want to go too much into the gig economy now because it will take out of my very limited time. So you can Google it, the gig economy, where, you can, as a graphic designer, you can work for 10 people. Gen Zs popularize that, right? Then remote work. Gen Zs popularize that. Now, they tend to pursue side hustles. They tend to pursue startups. Nowadays, you hear all kinds of names. Tikeni, Aborigine, Igwe.tech. All of these things, Wakana, well, maybe not Wakana, but you know what I'm talking about. All of these entrepreneurial endeavors come more now from Gen Zs because they have that energy, they have the risk factor. Somebody who can put millions and billions with an app and sleep well at night, they have that, risk quotient to pursue entrepreneurial endeavors. So they tend to pursue side hustles, startups, and non-traditional career paths. So Gen Zs don't like 9 to 5. They don't like all these pensionable careers. You really find them in the civil service. They want to do their own thing. They want to start, because they know that if they go to the civil service, they start telling them you must have spent X number of years in the civil service before you get to this position. Then they look down on them based on their age. So because of that, Gen Zs want to start their own thing and be their own boss. So you see a 22-year-old guy or lad or lady that already has her own thing and she's doing very well, or he's doing very well at it. They are already their own boss. Then they have shorter attention span. Listen to this. They have shorter attention span with exposure to fast-paced digital content. So everything is fast with Gen Zs, and we're in the fast-paced age. So because of that, because of apps or platforms like TikTok, where in 1 minute, or YouTube Shorts, so it has conditioned the mind of the typical Gen Z such that they often prefer concise, visually engaging communication. In fact, if you want to catch the attention of Gen Zs, bring some, if you put it in a book, they are most likely not going to read it. If you put it in a long article, they are most likely not going to read it. If you put it in short videos and short clips that they can consume fast and move on, then you got their attention, right? So Gen Zs make up a significant portion of the global population right now, and is shaping the future of work. So all this thing about remote work, hybrid work, work from home, work from Nigeria, and you work from Nigeria and earn in dollars or pounds or whatever, is popularized by Gen Z. So they've brought a lot of good to us, and we should put our salutes out to them. So portion of the global population, and is shaping the future of work, culture, and consumer behavior. Gen Zs own the world right now, in simple plain terms. So now let's go to the part where I said, why don't they get us? So if we are this if we're this important to society, if we're adding so much value to society as I've highlighted, so why don't these millennials get us? Well, I'll tell you how Gen Zs can earn respect from millennials. Now, the thing is, Gen Zs might have a lot of upper hand over millennials, over the older ones, and they tend to feel that they can do it all without millennials or the elders, as the case may be, or the older ones. But there are things you need to understand. You are gifted, you are talented, you know your stuff, you can start up a company and build it, but there's only so much you can go without some form of guidance from the older ones, and I will explain that to you. How Gen Zs can earn respect from millennials. 1, show a strong work ethic. You should demonstrate commitment and reliability by meeting deadlines and being proactive. One of the things I found out, hiring Gen Zs, I've hired a few Gen Zs, and they are very talented. Now, if you get a graphic designer who is Gen Z, or a web developer who is Gen Z, or a software developer who is Gen Z, they are very, very, very good at their craft. But there's this problem of committing. And the problem of committing comes from the foundation of taking too much. So they want to do your website, and they've already promised 3 or 4 other people that they want to do their website, and they believe that no, we can get it done, don't worry. And that becomes a problem when they do not meet up with deadlines. So if you commit, so what I'm going to advise Gen Zs is, you are multi-talented. You can draw, you can swim, you can drive, but just try to do 1 or 2 things at a time, so that you can really serve your clients. Not that you are doing so many things and then you are not able to meet up with everyone's needs. For example, I had this guy, I don't know whether it's Gen Z, most likely Gen Z, that he helps me with my fabrics, some of the things some of my clothing and whatever. And this guy is very talented, but the problem now is, this same thing of maybe he has so many orders, he has taken so many orders, and number 1, it's very hard for him to meet deadlines. When I tell him, so day, can you deliver by courier to me? There's a problem. Number 2, because of this quick, take care. So he decising, like for example, maybe I use a XXX as my size, or XXL or something like that. He ended up, there was one delivery, he ended up giving me just an L, and I was like, how do you forget what I told you? We chatted about it, I told you exactly what I wanted. How come I'm getting something so different from what I asked for? The problem is probably taking too many orders, and then maybe switched the give L to XL, give XXL to XXL, and those kind of things. It might sound smart, and the funniest thing, the most interesting thing about this story, this true life story I'm sharing with you, is that when I told him about these errors, that your first order had defect, your second order 2-3 defects, it's looking like I'm wasting money. You are good at what you do, but I'm not getting value for my money. Do you know that he did not feel a single remorse? I mean, there was nothing to make him say, oh, I'm sorry, sir, about what I did, I will make amends. And he just went straight to, okay, do you have any other place where I can deliver? And I was just not having it. I was like, oh, so do you think I'm making all this up so that you can give me a new order? You know what, don't worry about it. But you know what that means now. He has lost my business and any future recommendations I'm supposed to give him. Not because he's not good or talented, but because of this work ethic palaver. Gen Z's, calm down. You have the talent, you have what it takes to succeed, but you need to calm down. That's something millennials have over you guys, the ability to calm down. So number 2 is communicate effectively. So you should, as a Gen Z, communicate effectively. How? Use clear professional language when needed. Now, one of the things with Gen Z is that they have a lot of acronyms. You can say LLB that. And you're like, what you're chatting with them, they're like, GXEE. Now I'm like, what is GXEE? So you're communicating with someone, you're trying to pass across information, you're saying DDBA, and I'm like, come on now, can you just speak English? And because of that, maybe to your fellow Gen Zs, it can flow with them. But if you want to work with me, or if we're supposed to do something together, or we're supposed to partner or something, and every sentence is filled with XXD, BGDD. I mean, we're not really going to go for. After a while, we'll have a communication breakdown, and I'm just going to move on, right? So number 3, seek mentorship. Gen Zs do not feel the need for mentorship. They feel that all the information they need to get is on Google, is on ChatGPT, is on social media. So they do not feel the need to seek mentorship. What's mentorship? Looking for somebody who is ahead of you in your area of discipline, in something you are trying to be better at, that can hold your hand and say, go left instead of right, then go right instead of left, do this, do that. People with experience. You have the skill, they have the experience. You need to seek mentorship so that based on their experience in terms of mistakes and miracles, so to speak, they can guide you properly to success. Gen Zs do not see the need for mentorship. They feel they know it all, and so they can do it all. Gen Zs, I'm going to advise you, I'm not one of those millennials who want to come to you and say, hey, respect me by force. If you take a look at my videos and the things I talk, I'm very, very objective about my point. But please seek mentorship. You might be good at it skill-wise. You might be good at it ability-wise. But you need to seek mentorship. You don't have the experience usually, and you need to gain this experience. Humble yourself. Calm down. And learn from those who can give you experience. And the people who can transfer experience to you by advising you might not even be as talented as you. Usually you guys are smarter. But at least this guy has made a couple of mistakes and made a couple of successes in that area and can make your process faster. For example, the example I gave about the Gen Z guy that makes my fabrics, makes my clothing and all that, I was even willing to talk to him and be like, you are good at what you do, but you need to slow down. Maybe you're taking too many orders. Maybe you need to automate things. Maybe you need to, but it's not about speed of delivery, even though that was even lacking. It's about, you pick one client, somebody might ask for just, one polo. Make me a polo, a tee, one t-shirt. And you might do so much of a good job that the person is like, oh, I was just testing you. Can you now do 100? Or, oh, maybe I wore the t-shirt somewhere and somebody's like, oh, I love this t-shirt. Who made it for? Oh, don't worry. I have the right guy for you. And from that one t-shirt, you can get maybe a company telling you to make 1,000 clothing every time. So you are looking at that one, I'm going to quickly do it and send it to him. And it becomes a problem when you're just running around in circles and you're not really going anywhere. And then you become frustrated. Oh, I'm talented. I know what I'm doing. Why am I not getting as much clients? You're messing things up in little. So the big will not come. Take this from me for free. So then bridge the digital gap. Use your tech-savvy nature to help with new tools, apps, platforms, and collaborate instead of dismissing traditional methods. One of the things I found out about Gen Zs is that they feel that we millennials, we are old school. They feel that millennials and beyond are old school. We know how to do it the new way. Yes, you have the cooler apps, the better tools, the better apps to get things done. But you need to learn to collaborate. The millennials might be slower with this tech thing, but they, like I said, have experience. You can say, okay, fine. I understand what you want me to do, sir. You want me to do X, Y, Z, but you know that this will be better on TikTok. Try to explain to your clients or the people you're collaborating or partnering with why you're using a particular tool. Do it respectfully. I mean, you don't lose anything by being respectful. You can tell them that, okay, fine, we can work on this together. I like the ideas you're bringing, but this will be the better platform for us to put it in. And you can collaborate effectively like that. And the millennial and beyond will appreciate the fact that, oh, these guys have cooler tools we can use to achieve more efficiency. Whereas what I'm bringing is also value that the Gen Zs might not have been able to put together. So collaborate with millennials. Don't fight them. Don't say, hey, you're old. Stay in your own lane. No. There's a lot that millennials can offer you that it might take time for you to realize, usually when it's too late. Then focus on follow through. Number 5 says follow through on commitment. So what does it mean to follow through on commitment? Avoid the stereotype of being unpredictable by sticking to plans and showing consistency. A Gen Z can say he wants to do graphic design today. You know him for graphic design today. By tomorrow, he's into web development. By next tomorrow, he's into coding. By the next whatever is into e-commerce. Because they can do many things, they just jump around without being deep in anything. Oh, today I know you as a fashion designer. Tomorrow I'm like, You are coding? Yes. That's what I do now. Next tomorrow, I'm like, you're a photographer. You confuse all of us, clients, partners, collaborators. So stick to one thing. Just because you can do many things does not mean you should do many things. Stick with the one that resonates with you the most, that you can do the most easily, that you are most passionate about, and gain a lot of, I'm not saying eventually, this concept of multitasking or multi-skills is more a curse than a blessing. Because eventually you will not be good at anything. Then people don't know you for one thing. They know you for many things, and they're like jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing, if you know what I'm saying. So stick to one thing and be good at it and be known for that one thing. Build a brand around one thing you're really good at, and you'll see quick results. And then follow through on commitments. If you tell somebody that we are going to work on this for 3 months, don't buck out in 2 weeks. I had an experience that was not so great not too long ago. If you commit to something, follow it through. Focus on results, not just trends. Gen Zs are the champions of trends. They're just jumping and hopping on this trend, hopping on that trend, and you are not deep at anything. Very similar to number 6. Follow through on commitment. If you pick this one thing, whether it's a trend or not, follow it through. Don't, while you're at it, a new trend bust out and then you leave this trend and jump on this one. That's part of what causes your frustration, right? Yeah. So focus on results. Do one thing and get results, tangible results of that thing before you jump onto the next thing, okay? And then finally, number 7, practice empathy. Treat people and situations with care and love, and stop catching cruise out of everything. Do you know this current thing going on now where, someone is in distress? Maybe someone has an accident, and instead of a Gen Z to reach out and help the person, they bring out their smartphone and they want to create content. Very appalling. Or you see someone that needs help on the street, is asking you for help, and instead of helping the person, you bring out your smartphone, you want to snap it and show that you are rich and the person is poor. I don't know. So this thing, please, say Gen Z, you need to be empathetic, like really care for people. Don't be trying to make content out of every situation you find. Don't be trying to catch cruise out of every situation you find. Be human. Understand that people go through some tough times sometimes, and they need your help, they need your sympathy, they need your empathy. So everything is not and put on social media. Everything is not content. Please, this is very, very important, okay? Because the universe has a way of rewarding empathetic people and punishing people who just thinks of themselves alone and trying to make content out of other people's misery. Nah, don't be that person. Don't be that kind of Gen Z. So, and usually I come to the point where I give you a Bible reference for my point, and today's Bible reference is in Proverbs 15:1, and it says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." Gen Zs need to watch how they speak to people, their mates, and even their superiors. They learn how to, just because you are driving a Benz and then you meet an old man on a bike, learn to talk to them with respect. If someone hurts you, you don't have to shout and show your superiority in quote. No, just be gentle with people, just be kind to people, and you'll be fine, right? So because a gentle answer turns away wrath. Okay, and then we have Ephesians 4:29 that says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up." So all this trolling, you go to people's pages and you comment to people and make them sad and make them depressed. That's not a Christian. I want you to be a spiritually sound Gen Z. Not the type that because you have a smartphone and you have data, you just go spreading negativity on people's pages. No, don't be that kind of Gen Z. You have a whole lot more to offer us than such negative vibes. And then finally, Philippians 2:4 says, "Not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of the other." So think about others. When you want to take an action, how will this affect the other person? Is it going to be positive or negative? Anyway, so we have come to the end of this episode, and I would like you to go to the comment section and ask a question that we can feature in one of our future Young Folks Ask session. The best questions win a surprise gift as usual. So just go to the comment section and ask a question that maybe we have not treated that we can consider in a future episode. And then if you learned a lot from this, imagine what you will gain from the Green Mentorship School that is starting December 31st, my 40th birthday, where we're going to give you kingdom principles for business, kingdom principles for leadership, kingdom principles for the workplace, and kingdom principles for the family setting, relationships with family. And it's absolutely free. Just go to the comment section, go to the description, and then click the link to fill out the Google form. Simple 3 questions and you're done, so that you can have information and updates about more details about the program. All right. So, and then what do I say at the end of every session like this? Please subscribe to this channel, share, comment. See you in green area. God loves you. Bye bye.